Seriously. So, picture this. You're scrolling through the news, and for once, there's no headline about a new conflict, no talk of escalating tensions, no country flexing its military muscles. It sounds like a fantasy, right? Like something out of a sci-fi movie where everyone wears silver jumpsuits. But what if it wasn't? What if we could actually build a world without war, without weapons? I know, it sounds completely insane. When I first thought about it, I felt like I was pitching a movie where pigeons are secretly the world's best diplomats. But stick with me for a second. This isn't just wishful thinking or a vague hope for world peace that we all talk about but never act on. This is a plan, a detailed step-by-step action plan designed for every government on this planet. It's a roadmap to get us from where we are now, constantly on the brink, to a future where our kids don't have to learn the names of new bombs or see cities turn to rubble on TV. It's about taking that universal desire for safety, for lasting peace, for a world where we work together instead of against each other, and turning it into a concrete, achievable reality. We're going to break down exactly how we can dismantle the machinery of war, piece by piece, and build something better in its place. We'll talk treaties, we'll talk money, we'll talk about changing the very way we think about security and defense. It's ambitious, yes, it's bold, absolutely. But in a world that feels increasingly chaotic, maybe a bold, ambitious plan for peace is exactly what we need. So, let's get into it. Let's imagine this world together, and then let's figure out how to build it. All right, step 1. You can't just have a secret handshake for world peace. You need paperwork, lots of it. So we start with a global peace treaty framework. I'm talking about a document so official, so universally recognized that every single nation on Earth signs it. Not just the big guys, not just the usual suspects. Everyone, from America to Zambia, from Iceland to Kiribati. This isn't your standard agreement that some countries can just ignore like the terms and conditions on a software update. This is a legally binding universal peace and disarmament treaty. It makes resolving arguments through talking, through diplomacy, the law of the land, the entire land, the whole planet. And to make sure nobody's just signing it and then going back to their old ways, we establish a global peace council. Think of it as the UN's new superpowered older sibling. This council isn't just for show, it's the enforcement arm. Their job is to oversee the whole process, to mediate disputes before they even think about escalating. They're the global referees, and their only goal is to make sure everyone plays by the new rules of peace. No more backroom deals, no more might makes right. Just a clear legal framework that says we solve our problems with words, not with weapons. It's the foundation for everything that follows. So everyone signed the treaty. Fantastic. Now for the tricky part, getting rid of the actual weapons. You can't just ask nicely. You need a plan, a phased global disarmament. We do this in 3 stages, so nobody panics. Phase 1 is simple but huge, a total worldwide ban on producing any new weapons. We just stop. The assembly lines halt. The factories making tanks and fighter jets, they're going to need to find a new business, maybe start making really, really safe playground equipment. This immediately freezes the world's arsenal in place. No more upgrades, no more new toys for the generals. Phase 2 gets more serious. This is where we tackle the big, scary stuff. Weapons of mass destruction. Nuclear, chemical, biological, all of it. Under the watchful eye of our new global council, these weapons are systematically dismantled and destroyed. It's a global spring cleaning of the planet's most dangerous closet. Then comes Phase 3 conventional arms. Tanks, guns, battleships. We set strict regional timelines to reduce these stockpiles down to 0. It's not a free-for-all. It's a carefully managed, verifiable process. Every region moves together so no one feels vulnerable. It's like the whole world agreeing to put away its sharp objects all at the same time. Okay, so if we have no weapons, what do we do with the armies? The millions of soldiers, the massive defense budgets. This is where it gets exciting. We don't just disband them, we reinvent them. We transform the world's militaries into what I call peace forces. Their new mission isn't to fight wars, but to fight disasters. Think about it. These are some of the most organized, disciplined, and logistically brilliant organizations on the planet. Instead of invading countries, they're the first responders to earthquakes, floods, and pandemics. They build bridges, deliver aid, and purify water. They become the world's greatest humanitarian and disaster relief agency. And the money? Oh, the money. The trillions of dollars spent on defense budgets every year? We redirect it, every cent. Imagine that cash flowing into healthcare, so everyone has access to a doctor, pouring into education so every child has a school and resources. Funding research into clean energy, sustainable agriculture, and peaceful technologies that actually improve our lives. We stop investing in ways to destroy ourselves and start investing in ways to uplift ourselves. The defense budget becomes the progress budget. The Department of Defense becomes the Department of Development and Hope. Now that's a rebrand I can get behind. Right, so we've got no weapons and our armies are planting trees. But people will still have disagreements. Countries will still argue over borders, trade, or, who has the best national anthem. So how do we solve these without resorting to a big fight? We build a better system for arguing. We create a global conflict resolution system that is robust, respected, and has actual teeth. We start by strengthening the International Court of Justice. We give it more resources, more authority, and make its rulings binding on all nations. No more saying, nah, we don't like that ruling, we're not going to follow it. If the court decides, that's the final word. For other disputes, we expand the role of UN peacekeeping and professional arbitration. Think of it as global marriage counseling. Before tensions can even start to simmer, these teams are on the ground, facilitating dialogue. We also implement sophisticated AI-driven early warning systems. These systems would analyze political rhetoric, economic data, and social media trends to flag potential hotspots for conflict long before they erupt. It's like a weather forecast for political storms. The goal is to make going to court or arbitration the default, the only option. We replace the battlefield with the courtroom and the battlefield general with a really, really good lawyer. You can change the laws and take away the weapons, but if you don't change the mindset, you're just waiting for the problem to grow back. That's why the next step is a revolution in education. We make peace education a mandatory part of the curriculum in every school, in every country, for every child, from kindergarten to university. This isn't just one boring class a semester. It's integrated into everything. In history, we don't just learn about the wars. We learn about the peacemakers, the diplomats, the movements that chose nonviolence and succeeded. We study the devastating costs of conflict, not just the victories. In social studies, kids learn practical skills like conflict resolution, mediation, empathy, and active listening. They learn about different cultures, not as something strange or threatening, but as a beautiful part of our shared human tapestry. We teach compassion as a core subject, right alongside math and science. The goal is to raise a generation of true global citizens, people who see a person from another country, not as a foreigner, but as a fellow human being. We program our children for peace, for understanding, for cooperation. It's the ultimate long-term investment in a war-free world. Trust, but verify. A famous guy once said that, and he was probably talking about a peace plan like this. You can't just hope everyone is getting rid of their weapons. You have to know. So we create a new, powerful international body, the Global Weapons Audit Agency, or GWAA. Think of them as the world's toughest accountants, but instead of counting money, they're counting missiles, or rather, the lack thereof. Their sole job is to ensure compliance with the disarmament treaty. They get unprecedented access. They can show up anywhere, anytime to inspect a former military base or a suspicious-looking factory. To do this, they'll use the most advanced technology humanity has ever created. We're talking a network of surveillance satellites with resolutions so high they can read the brand name on a shovel from space. We're using AI algorithms to monitor global communications and supply chains for any sign of black market arms dealing. The international arms trade, once a multi-billion-dollar industry, is now completely illegal, treated with the same severity as global drug trafficking. There are no loopholes. There are no secret sales. We create a system of total transparency, a global neighborhood watch where every nation is watching every other nation, ensuring the promise of peace is kept. Let's be honest, you can appeal to people's better nature all day long, but sometimes money talks louder. So we need to make peace profitable. We build a system of powerful economic incentives. It's a global carrot and stick approach. For the countries that fully comply with the peace treaty, the ones that dismantle their weapons, retrain their armies, and teach peace in schools, we roll out the red carpet. They get preferential trade agreements, access to a massive global peace and development fund for infrastructure projects, and all sorts of economic aid. Being peaceful literally pays dividends. Your economy grows, your people prosper. And for any nation that hesitates or tries to cheat the system, that's where the stick comes in. We're not talking about military intervention, obviously. We're talking about swift, severe, and globally enforced economic sanctions. They get cut off from the international banking system. They face crippling trade embargoes. Their leaders face travel bans. We make it so economically painful to be a warmonger that it becomes an unthinkable choice. The message is simple. Join the peaceful, prosperous global economy, or be left behind in isolation. We align the world's financial interests with the world's security interests. Throughout history, religion and culture have been used as reasons to go to war. You know, that whole, my God is better than your God, or my traditions are superior to yours. It's been a source of division for centuries. But what if we flipped that? What if we used these powerful forces as tools for unity? That's really the idea behind the annual Global Interfaith and Intercultural Peace Summits. We bring together the most influential religious leaders, the Pope, the Grand Imam, the Dalai Lama, chief rabbis, Hindu gurus, evangelical pastors, everyone, and cultural icons from around the world. And it's not just for a photo op, but for a genuine working summit. Their mission is to find the common ground in their teachings, the messages of peace, compassion, and humanity that exist in every single faith and culture. They then craft unified messages that are broadcast globally. Imagine tuning in and seeing the world's top religious leaders standing together, preaching a message of tolerance and cooperation to their billions of followers. We use global media to amplify these messages, producing documentaries, TV shows, and social media campaigns that celebrate cultural diversity and shared human values. We turn religion and culture from a battleground into a bridge for peace. Think about how much war is glorified in our entertainment. We play video games where we're soldiers, we watch blockbuster movies about heroic battles, and honestly, we consume news that often frames conflict as exciting drama. We are conditioned, subtly, to see war as a normal, even thrilling part of the human experience. But to build a lasting peace, we have to change the stories we tell ourselves. This means establishing a new standard of digital and media responsibility. We're not talking about censorship, but a global, industry-led movement to ban the glorification of war and violence. Instead of funding movies about blowing things up, production houses are incentivized to create epic films about diplomacy, scientific discovery, and humanitarian heroism. Video game developers can create incredibly popular games centered on collaboration, city building, or exploring new worlds instead of just, shooting things. News media would be encouraged to focus more on peace journalism, highlighting reconciliation efforts and de-escalation successes, not just conflict. And we harness social media, using its power to launch global peace movements, connect activists, and share stories of hope and cooperation, drowning out the voices of hate and division. We change the narrative. A global treaty signed by politicians is great, but real, lasting peace doesn't just come from the top down. It has to be built from the ground up, in every village, town, and neighborhood. The final critical step is to empower local communities. A significant portion of that redirected military spending goes directly into a fund for local peace-building projects. We're talking about supporting the grassroots leaders who are already doing the work, the community organizers, the youth mentors, the women's groups who are resolving conflicts and healing divisions in their own backyards. They know their communities best. We create platforms to ensure that local voices, especially those of youth, women, and elders, are directly involved in shaping national and international peace policies. Imagine a young activist from a small town having a seat at the table, advising the Global Peace Council on what her community actually needs to feel safe and thrive. This isn't just about preventing war between countries, it's about fostering harmony within them. By investing in local peace, we create a resilient, interlocking network of stable communities that makes large-scale conflict virtually impossible. Peace becomes the lived reality of everyday life. So that's the plan. It's big, it's complex, and I know parts of it sound idealistic. But every major leap forward in human history started as an idea that sounded impossible. Giving women the vote was impossible. Ending apartheid was impossible. Landing on the moon was impossible, until they weren't. This vision, this action plan, is our generation's impossible idea. It's a challenge to stop accepting a world of perpetual conflict as inevitable and to start architecting a future based on our highest ideals. not our oldest fears. This is the final vision, a world where armies plant trees, not bombs. A world where children grow up with books, not bullets. A world where borders are respected, but bridges are built between cultures and people. Where our greatest achievements are not our weapons of war, but our acts of compassion, our scientific breakthroughs, and our global cooperation. This future isn't a distant dream. It's a destination, and we have the map. It's a choice that lies before us, waiting to be made. So I invite you to do more than just watch this video. Imagine this world. Talk about it with your friends, your family. Demand that our leaders think bigger and bolder, because a world without war isn't just something to hope for, it's something to work for. Let's start building it together today. Thank you for watching.